Well, here we go again, folks. Plenty of cracking racing this weekend. 55 days to Cheltenham, boys.
Can't wait.
But it sound good.
Oh,
it sound good when you can start counting the days.
Even though we might not be there, but still.
Still
be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Still gonna have to build up me fans for lots of.
Oh, definitely, mate. Yeah, I've been trying to do that since sometime last year, but it hasn't worked out that way.
No.
Okay, all right. Well, again, we're going to have a little look at the weekend's racing. We've all picked a couple, or maybe one. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to chat with the boys too much today, but yeah, obviously, just all about the weekend. What's coming up then, lads? So, coming in, Sean, you can start us off far away. Go on, mate. Who'd you like the weekend?
I'm going to go back to my roots with not Willie Mullins. That's terrible. It's just force of habit.
I was going to say, force of habit,
right?
Yeah.
So that's force of habit. So it's glaringly obvious where I'm now going, because Venetia Williams has done fantastic with this one. What I meant was the colours of Susanna Ritchie is who I meant in the 240, the Peter Marsh handicap.
Yeah.
Is it Royal Pagale or Pagale?
I think it's pronounced something like that. Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt that's wrong, but us British
we'll go with that.
languages anyway. So yeah, it's what we're best at. Fantastic horse on the rise. Obviously, it's up in the weights again. I think it's running off 11.10 this time, something like that. It's going to go top end of the weights. Very impressive. I think it was Kempton. I think it was last time round during the festive. Yeah, during festive period, and was absolutely foot perfect in ground that we know will probably get similar to this weekend. We know what we get kind of from December to February sort of weather is that soft to heavy, most of it underwater by the looks of it across the country anyway. But it's a horse that just seems to be progressively getting better. Charlie Deutsch seems to be getting progressively more confident on the horse. Never seemed in any trouble. You could see a fair bit out at Kempton. It was the only likely winner, or it was kind of his to lose in that respect. Again, where they go from there with the horse, I don't know. I'd imagine the festival, because it's got that ability to stay in power. So, first one, 240, the Peter Marsh chase for me over at Haydock, I believe that one is. And then I'm over at Ascot, Clarence House, the main event. Now I'm going to stick with an old friend of mine, Unforunately Du Seuil. Now, you have to put that first run out of context, because they knew, or Dickie Johnson knew quite early doors, that something wasn't ticking. The horse was never going to get round. He said he was never comfortable, just wasn't firing. And I think if we're being honest, we've had that with a couple of horses first time out. You know, your who am I thinking of? Your Altiors, people like that. You know, they're put on such a pedestal because of their ability. That when they go, it was almost retirement talking. It's just absolute nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, an impressive winner of this last year, going away from the Iron Horse under again. You've got Waiting Patiently in there, who ran fantastically in his last two runs in King George and Tingle Creek. So that's not to be sniffed at, and also does really well at Ascot, really well. And obviously the Tingle Creek winner himself, Politologue, which Cobden's now on instead of Skelton. So obviously that speaks volumes. There's confidence in that horse. We know exactly what Politologue's about. The only horse really ever to walk all over Politologue was Altior, so that's volume. But for me, definitely, I'm going to stick to his guns, because if it comes back, it's such a great little gutsy horse around Ascot who's got good form. Ground may be a little bit of an issue, maybe, but yeah, definitely for me in the Clarence House, and Royal Pagale in the Peter Marsh chase.
Sean, with Deffy, do you reckon if he does that other run that he was very disappointing, would you be disappointed again, or do you reckon you'll be time to revert him back to hurdles, or do you reckon it's?
Well, look, I mean, it's difficult. If his form over the chase had been poor consistently, I would say, yeah, you could revert back. You could go, look, it's not working. We'll go back to hurdles.
Yeah.
The problem is, when you're talking about a horse that has won at Cheltenham over the big ones, has won at Ascot over the big ones, it's difficult to say that it's a, you know, it's not working, because it obviously does work. He can handle it, and I do agree. It would be tough to kind of put an argument in. Well, it's two bad runs now. You know,
But you can
Yeah, there
easily
must be
put
something. Yeah,
You can easily put a line through that run, and you can easily
Yeah.
like
you
turn
can
the
put a line
form.
against one run, like you say, with any horse and go, they just didn't turn up in the day.
Yeah.
Especially first run out. Second time out, you've got to start asking some questions. But I still think you'll get a good run. It'll be tough to win, but 3-1, decent price.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go next then, and really, I'll start with that one. Then you've hit the nail on the head for me. I was going to go with Deffy as well. Purely, really based on all the things you just said. Basically, he's too good an horse to give up on for a start. As you say, we know he can do it. We know he's got the ability. 3-1 seems like a pretty decent price for an horse of that ability. And I just think, like you say, you know what I mean? He stopped rather quickly. We all know that. But, you know, someone like Dickie that's, you know, been around it, you know, seen it, got the T-shirt a lot. Do you know what I mean?
It's smart jockeymanship, isn't it?
Eh?
It's smart jockeymanship.
Yeah.
If you know a horse is not running
at that point, right? Yeah. You know, whoa, stop. Now, all right, maybe it's an ongoing problem, or maybe it is something that's going to affect him long term. But I just think, you know, again, at 3-1 price, you know, I just think it's well worth a chance on him, because we all know how good he is. As you say, he's more than capable. I understand what you're saying, Jamie. He was at that disappointing fourth, but they're not robots, you know. They're not robots, and maybe, you know, maybe this season's just not quite at the moment, just sort of clicked into gear. But, you know, I think he's more than capable of winning that.
Agreed.
By a long way. So, so I'm going to go for Deffy as well in the 335, the Clarence House. So that's my first choice. In my second choice, I'm going over to the 150, which is the Matchbook Better Way handicap. I'm going to have a crack again at another one. I'm hoping just maybe might sort of come back good again, and I'm going to go for Benson at 6-1. You know, that his fourth last time out. It looks like a fairly decent field, but I do think it is winnable looking at that. You know,
he won at Sandown.
Yeah,
won at the Tingle Creek meet as well.
Very quirky. He ran like a train at Sandown, finishing full.
Yeah, but you know, again, I think it's just more than, you know, capable of winning that. You know, he was in good form or certainly in the last three until that fourth. But you know, looking at that field, obviously it's quite, you know, you're looking at it there, it's a large field, but
quite an open race, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I just think it's an open race. And again, at 6-1, I think it's a reasonable price, you know, for an horse that, you know, has won his last three before a disappointing fourth. And as you say, you know, I mean, maybe that was just a bad day at the office, you know. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, you know, as I say, not once again, not the most huge amount of thought gone into it per se, but just obviously a very good horse in an open race at a nice price. I can't see any reason why he wouldn't bounce back to form, and, you know, or at least be up there. Do you know what I mean? And have a chance of getting your money, you know.
Yep, definitely.
So that's going to be my second choice. So that's Deffy for me in the 335, and then Benson in the 150. So, go on then, Mark. Who do you like, mate?
First of all, I just want to say, Sean, we know you have a sheer love and passion for Willie Mullins. So
yeah,
well, like you're getting your trainers mixed up. You know,
do you know what? It just happens. I see the silks, I get excited. I thought I'm going with it, and then it's one of those.
Okay, so my two selections. I'm going up against a pair of you in the Matchbook Betting Exchange Clarence House Chase. And I'm going for a horse that you mentioned, Sean, Ruth Jefferson's Waiting Patiently. First of all, I can't take any faults or any negativity away from Unforunately Du Seuil. And I think 3-1, like we used to have both reiterated, that is a massive price. You know, for a horse that was a monster. Finishing fourth and being pulled up in its most recent race. So, you know, look, form's always there for that, but Waiting Patiently for me, as Sean reiterated, and you know, it's got form around Ascot. It's kind of like the forgotten horse as well, to tend to think about. And most recently, I've looked back at its second in the King George. You know, how it powered on late on, you know, to get that finish. So it was all hats off and a massive well done for that. And I think this is a race where you've got Defy Du Seuil, who we don't know what horse is going to turn up on that day. I could sit here now and talk about it, and it could absolutely breeze up and be the horse that we expect. Little Oak, who won Tingle Creek, which is a short price at 5-4. Yeah, it was impressive in that race, but I think it's going to be up against some real stiff competition. You've also got, excuse my pronunciation for these, Duke des Ginevri as well for Paul.
Ginevri or something.
Oh, in the real steel colours, isn't it?
Yeah. And you've also got Fanion de Estreval for Venetia Williams, who she's also been in fine form as well so far this season.
Yeah, there's some decent ones in here, mate.
Definitely, and like I say, form, like for waiting patiently, has been very consistent. Back in the last season, and I'm only going by its recent second in the King George. I think it could go that one better and get the win.
I'd agree with you, mate. It is an horse that does seem to be on its way back. Let's put it that way.
Most definitely, but it is going to be a very open and an exciting race. And sorry, Jamie, I forgot to mention that it's 2 miles. And the very important 160.
The important 100. Yeah.
So there you go. That's my first choice. My second choice, I'm going over to Haydock in the 3:15, the new one Unibet hurdle, which has been registered as the Champion Hurdle trial race. 1 mile, 7 furlongs, and the important 144 yards. Now, I've sat here and tried to pick a winner out of this race, and as much as I wanted to go for one particular, which I will mention in a minute, I've had to go with my guns and go for Song for Someone, trained by Tom Simmons. Jamie, I'm sure that's a horse that you've selected once or twice maybe before. And its recent victory at Ascot over Call Me Lord and Lorena, but most importantly, its impressive win in the Unibet International Hurdle at Cheltenham. When it beat Silver Streak, who, remember, Silver Streak most recently went on and beat Epperton. So this goes to show you the form of certain races for me. And I said, form is there for me for this one. I just have a quick mention because I was so close to going and picking Bouverdere. Yeah, I'm so close to picking this horse because, Bouverdere for me is the main threat. I'm looking forward to seeing Bouverdere out there on the field. It's already been confirmed that he's going to potentially go to Cheltenham after this race. And it's come back in the fighting 5th hurdle at Newcastle, his second. So the excitement's there for me. But Song for Someone for me, over his last 2 runs, it's been very, very impressive. It's run on all kinds of grounds. Heavy ground, it's looking like, dependent on the weather, it's looking like what we're going to see. Jockey's not been named yet. But I think for me, it's the winner. You got Ballyandy in there as well. Who's always a consistent runner.
Likes to throw the spanner in the works now and then. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. But can't see past Song for Somebody.
Yeah.
In that one.
But maybe if Bouverdere, if there weren't sort of questions to answer, want for a better word.
Yes.
Maybe you might not even give it a second thought. But I think what you're saying, given the efforts that Song for Someone has, put in recently, I think it's only right that people should really consider that over Bouverdere, which is something you'd thought you'd never say.
Yeah.
But right now, I think it'd be unfair not to,
Agreed.
And if you look at Bouverdere's form, especially from that 2016, 2017, it was unbeatable at times. Like you say, they're animals. It's just a strong reiterate about Defy. You win some, you lose some. And
they're there to be beaten. That's all I say.
Exactly.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
I won't carry on too much, Jamie. I'll let you.
Me, right? Okay, then. Well, I was a little bit, short on the hop, so
that's all right, mate.
Just a little bit of a short, but I've done an Ascot 150, so I'm going after you, young Glenn.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to do an each way selection for Tom Lacey and his horse, Cateson. Run last time out, winning at Aintree in December. Last year, winning by nose. The 8-year-old Gilding, he's got quite a lot of form on soft and heavy conditions, so he could suit on. He should run well over Ascot. So he should have a reasonable run. I'm not sure the jockey, because it's obviously we're a little bit early.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
last time, I think the last time out was Tom Scudamore, so hopefully he might still take up the reins. But that's my each way selection for the Ascot 152 miles of 3 furlongs of the important, and it will be the very important 58 yards in the old soft conditions. And then for my second selection, and I'm going to do a third mystery selection for you. But my second one is the Ascot 1240, the first race, Ascot Junival hurdle, 1 mile 7 furlongs, or really technically 2 miles. It'll be my win selection, but I would say the Heross Du Seuil.
That's easy for you to say, isn't it?
Yeah, tongue twister. He obviously it was the first time we saw him running at Kempton, and he won by 10 lengths, beating her indoors. So
you
that'll
picked him out that day, didn't you?
Sorry,
did you pick him out that day?
I'm not sure. I think one of the 3 did. I think.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I thought you mentioned him, but
I think I did. It could be. But also he beat very convincingly another Skelton horse, Ambassador, that finished 3rd as well. So it'd be interesting how he coached with the ground conditions, the heavy conditions, because there's going to be a lot of rain at the weekend, and there's been a lot of been a lot of rain during like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I'm wondering how he will cope for the soft or heavy conditions at Ascot, and also it'd be interesting what type of horse that the Donnellys have, because apparently the Donnellys have been buying left, right, and centre at the moment. So it'd be interesting if he does really well again. I'm wondering if they're going to try and put him in the Supreme for March.
Well, you'd have a little look at that card, wouldn't you? You'd think, you think it should be a race to win. There's a few in there, obviously, without any form against their name. So really, you're kind of sort of thinking, is anything going to come out of the pack, kind of thing, isn't it?
I mean, there was one that. I mean, there was one in the field that was quite interesting. That was with Tritonic, who's trained by Alan King. He's been running on the flat, like 1 mile 4s, and done really well on the flat. And he's transferred over to going over the hurdle. So that'll be the first time he'll be running in over hurdles in public. So that'll be interesting with us as well. So.
I see where you're coming from. I can see that. I can see what you're saying there. At the end of the day, it does look winnable. And as you say, it'd be very interested to see.
Also, he's going right-handed again. I mean, like with Kempton and also with Ascot. So it'll be interesting. And in my mystery 3rd selection will be the Clarence House. So we're going to have a 4-way. Now the only thing is, though, I haven't wrote any notes. So the one that I just saw on the field was First Flow, and I was trained by Tim Bailey. Now, if he does run, he does go on soft conditions and heavy, and he has got course and distance at Ascot, and he has won at Ascot. But the only thing is that normally tend to concern me is sometimes he does the slight unorthodox jump in slight over fences. But his last time that he won, and I did back him, and he jumped really well. He went like really straight and true. So I'm just hoping for an each way. I don't know what odds he is at the moment, but with an each way selection with first.
I'm showing 10-1 at the moment with
that'd be interesting. And also David Best. Now David Best, like I say, he's getting his confidence. He's starting to turn his career over now. And he's like being a vegan and everything. So
he's had plenty of winners, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been really well this year. So hopefully you might ride him on Saturday, and we'll give him a good run against your lot.
Well, no, I completely agree, mate. I think 10-1 for First Flow is a decent prize as well.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those, isn't it? Especially like Jamie was alluding to, the ground, especially this time of year where it can get so heavy, like bottom.
Yeah.
You're not looking for those horses that have got that electric turn of foot. It's like Matt Chapman alluded. He mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Just like those slow horses. I know it sounds silly, but they'll stay all day. the horses with that turn of foot, you can't put that turn of foot necessarily into play if that ground is bottomless.
Yeah.
You want those, and first flow is one of those where it will just keep going. There may not be an electric turn of foot, but if the jumping's straight and he's not a little bit too quirky and the rest of the field are having an off, that it's one of those horses that a 10 to 1 can capitalise, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a smart bet myself.
You just want a horse with plenty of stamina and just grinds it out.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
You just want that horse just to grind it out and just pummel all the other horses into suspicion and let them all pull up, and you just have your horse like win. So yeah, that's my little selection on that mystery selection on the third one.
Okay, mate. Fair enough. Okay, lads. Well, that's a few for the weekend then. Obviously, all well looking forward to it as always. Let's hope we find some winners.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That's the aim anyway, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Exactly, yeah. All in the name of fun, though, isn't it, really? Let's be honest.
It's great racing this
Just
week.
the money helps, doesn't it, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, folks, well, there's a selection for all, for all of us there. Hopefully you'll agree with some, probably won't agree with them all. But yeah, let us know if you like any of them and get involved in the conversation as always.
Indeed.
All right then, chaps, we'll best get on. We've got things to do. We'll see you again next time for another video.
We'll do, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Have a good night, boys. See you later.
Bye.